Morning, guys. Dan with Canadian Retail Solutions. And today's rant is brought to you by, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's time for market again. In all honesty, it is approaching market season. June is kind of that kickoff to market season for a lot of us. And so today I'm going to share with you my 3 tips for a successful market trip. Number 1, be prepared. Be prepared on 3 levels: on a vendor level, on a trend level, and on a customer level. Let's start with customer. It's so important that you truly know who she is. You know her on a geo, demo, and psychographic way. You know what she's buying, what she's responding to, and how she'll respond to your next purchase. At a trend level, it's important that you recognize those classes in your store, the categories in your store that are on an upward trend. Those classes are the ones that need to be expanded at this market season or in this market season. And of course, then that third is your vendor. Be prepared. Know your performance with each vendor you plan to buy from. When I say performance, I don't necessarily mean sales volume. I more importantly mean sell-through and cash margin. How well did you sell through what you've purchased from them in the past? And most importantly, what was the cash margin generated? Cash margin, sales, net sales, minus what you purchased at cost equals your cash margin. Cash margin is what you use to operate your store. So tip number 1, be prepared. Tip number 2, when you arrive at market, walk the floor. I can't stress how important it is to just simply walk the floor. Spend the first hour, 2, 3 hours just walking the floor. These retailers, me included in my past, we get so caught up in the appointments that we make that we rarely see what else is at market. So super important that you get to market and walk the floor. Have a hit list, write down vendors, booths, things that you want to come back and revisit, things that, hey, there's a great X and I want to come back and check that out. So my tip number 2, walk the floor. Tip number 3, set expectations before you sign. Set expectations before you sign your POs. When you're working with a vendor, with a distributor, with a representative, set the turn, the sell-through, your margin, your maintained margin, expectations with that person, that vendor at that time, not after product arrives in your store. We need to know from our starting point where we're going to launch. And most importantly, what we're going to do when things perform really well or don't perform so well. So my 3 tips are: be prepared, walk the floor, and set your expectations before you sign. Now, I gave you my top 3. The one thing I didn't talk about was budget. And so I'm going to add that in as my last little kicker. Budget. Most of you are looking at me and going, budget, I hate that word, budget. But budget is in fact freedom. Budget needs to be looked at like, this is my open to buy dollars. This is my spending, not my constraint. This is what gives me freedom to go and buy. Set budgets by class and you'll have a great market. Happy retailing.